Lineage 2. Almost 7. Yeah.
Your character has died.
Well, I'm very big on that. One very strict boundary I have is around anger. Where I don't allow somebody to jump anger if somebody is angry and they sort of dump it out. That's not appropriate. And so, it doesn't happen very often. I guess it used to happen more, so I had strong boundaries. But it's just to say this is not working for me. Let's reconvene when you're calmer. And either I leave or they leave. I don't sit there and take it. And so for those of you who sit there and take it, I would consider reevaluating and being able, and it's harder when someone is they're so angry and you want to say, that's not working for me. And so you have to be able to do that and protect yourself. Or if you're, let's say, at a conference or a party and you meet someone who's a chronic talker and they come at you and they just talk, and you wonder how you're going to get out of there, and you don't know what to say or do. And the thing is, you have to interrupt them, and it's so hard, especially in the beginning, to interrupt and to say, hey, I'm sorry, I've got to go home. After this person now, I'll see you later. But you say it nicely. When you set a boundary, the tone of your voice needs to be very, well, I'm very big on that. One,
You know that feeling when the heart is racing, your thoughts are spiraling, and it feels like the world is closing in around you? Well, what if I told you the solution to calming that storm might be sitting right next to you, wagging its tail, or purring softly? Today we're diving deep into something that millions of people experience, but rarely talk about openly, and how our four-legged friends might just be the most powerful anxiety fighters we never knew we had. I'm Dr. Thomas, and this is Jingles, and welcome to Tips from a Psychiatrist. Anxiety affects over 40 million adults in the United States alone, making it one of the most common mental health conditions. But here's what's fascinating. People who own pets report significantly lower levels of anxiety and stress compared to those who don't. You know that feeling when the heart is racing, your thoughts are...
workplace, and it's something that government simply cannot afford to get wrong. We all know someone who has or is struggling. It's the young person who can't get the right support at school, the parent quietly carrying a heavy burden, the colleague who suffers in silence. Deputy Speaker, our country is facing a mental health epidemic. According to the ABS, around 1 in 5 Australians experience a mental or behavioural condition each year. Rates of psychological distress have never been higher, and yet access to help has never been higher. Despite billions in federal investment, outcomes are going backwards. Children are waiting months for appointments, families are being pushed to breaking point. Communities are crying out for help, and under this Labor government, the system is going in reverse. Deputy Speaker, the system under Labor is completely backwards. We saw it when Labor cut Medicare subsidised psychology sessions in half, a lifeline that thousands of Australians relied upon. They took away something that was working, leaving vulnerable families to fend for themselves. In my own electorate of Macpherson, the need is undeniable. Nearly 8% of locals live with a long-term mental health condition, and more than 1 in 5 report a mental or behavioural disorder. Behind each statistic is a person, family, or a community trying to hold it together. Deputy Speaker, as you will well and truly know, in this role we have the opportunity to meet with people from across our community, to hear their stories, to understand their experiences, and then ultimately to represent them here in this place. Soon after I was elected as the federal member for Macpherson, I met with a local family from Palm Beach who spoke to me about the fact that they will never forget the day that their world fell apart. A father who had been battling depression attempted to take his own life. He survived, but the impact on his wife and his children was immense and remains to be the case. When he was released from hospital, he wanted to rebuild, he wanted routine, he wanted connection, and he wanted a sense of purpose. He tried to find a part-time job, something small, to get him back on track. But under Labor's welfare system, the moment he earned a few dollars, his support was cut off entirely. Deputy Speaker, this is what I mean when we say Labor's policies are backwards. We know that work, routine and social connection are some of the best ways to support recovery and mental well-being. Yet Labor's system punishes people who try to do the right thing. It traps them into dependence rather than helping them move forward. Why would this Labor government design a system that disincentivises Australians from beginning their journey to ease back into working, contributing and reconnecting? Why don't they trust Australians to make their own choices about gradually transitioning back into work and community life? If they had their own way, no one who had been disadvantaged would ever get a fair go at getting back on their feet. I'm reminded of another one of my constituents, Mr. Deputy Speaker, a single mother whose daughter had been dealing with mental health challenges for some time. When Labor halved the Medicare subsidised psychology sessions, it left her in an impossible position. She simply cannot afford the extra cost, and so her daughter goes without. Australians deserve better. They deserve a system that meets them where they are, with compassion, flexibility and trust. And it would be remiss of me not to mention the fact that this mother spoke to me about the difficulties that her daughter has in accessing mental health support services because of the unique situation they were in, where her father attempted to commit suicide and thankfully was unsuccessful in doing so. Because of that, this person was unable to access support that was needed. Australians, as I said, deserve better. But under Labor, their services are cut, support is scarce, and those who are struggling are left out to dry. We're seeing psychologists, counsellors, nurses and GPs who are all burning out. Clinics are understaffed and families are falling through the cracks. I would, however, Mr Deputy Speaker, like to take this opportunity to thank the many people in my community of McPherson on the southern Gold Coast, those who are involved with the provision of mental health services for young people, for people of all ages and for people of all backgrounds. They do incredible work in keeping our community's mental health where it should be and encouraging it to go in the right direction. Mr Deputy Speaker, I also point out in particular the fact that the mental health record for men in this country is shocking. Men are 3 times more likely to die by suicide than females, and they unfortunately make up 3/4 of all suicides. The previous speaker that spoke on this subject mentioned everything that government should do, all the responsibilities of government in relation to mental health, in relation to health more broadly as well. And what I would say is to that member is that member forms part of the government. There is an opportunity here for the government to do something about this. We went to the last election committed to doubling and restoring, rather, the 20 subsidised places for mental health support sessions. And that is something that was very well received in our community in McPherson. And why was it well received? It was well received because people on the ground, the everyday men and women that I have the opportunity to speak to and I have the privilege of representing in this place, they understand that this is a serious issue at the moment, not just in McPherson but across the country. The schools that I go into, with the rise of social media, we're seeing it at a very young age, instances of young people being affected by what they're seeing online, by the way that they're being treated online, and that transitioning into broader mental health issues for them. Deputy Speaker, something needs to be done. And if there's one thing I know from my engagement in my community, it's that what is happening in this building by this government is unacceptable. We need to step up, and the government needs to step up and provide where there is a need. And right now there is a need for better funding for mental health support services in Australia. Deputy Speaker, as I've mentioned, mental health needs to be a national priority. And the test of a government's commitment is not the number of their empty promises. It's whether in a moment of crisis an Australian can get the support they need. Mr Deputy Speaker, when I was elected to this place, I committed in my maiden speech to giving a voice to the people of the southern Gold Coast when they need it. That moment is now. People in McPherson, people across the Gold Coast and people across Australia know well and truly that mental health is something that needs to be prioritised by this government. And us on the coalition side will continue to make noise, to continue to represent our communities where this need, for as long as this need remains. Right now, far too many people cannot access the services that they need. That is the measure that matters, and on that measure, this government, the federal Albanese Labor government, is failing.
Yeah, government is failing because you took someone else's federal goods. Playlist shorts.
Awareness is the new beginning. Happy New Year from everyone at Stars Edge International. Awareness is the new beginning.
Yeah, there isn't that much going on in advertising.
మీరు ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీయా? అయితే మీరు చాలా జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండాలి.
ఎందుకు?
안녕하세요. 정신과 전문의 정우열입니다. 오늘도 돌아온 명언도 어록도 아닌 우열을 가릴 수 없는 문장. 죄송합니다. 오늘의 문장은 사람은 원래 답정너입니다. 입니다. 모르는 분을 위해서 답정너의 뜻을 설명드리면 답은 정해져 있고 너는 대답만 해의 줄임말이죠. 사람은 원래 답정너라는 게 사람을 비하하는 말은 아닙니다. 오히려 사람의 마음이 작동하는 방식을 이해하기 쉽게 설명드린 거죠. 사람은 의외로 전혀 답이 없어서 고민하지 않습니다. 대부분은 이미 마음속 어딘가에 자기가 원하는 방향 또 원하는 결론이 있죠. 그래서 조언을 구할 때조차도 사실은 마음속에서는 이런 상태로 조언을 구하는 경우가 많습니다. 내가 이렇게 생각을 해도 괜찮을까요? 이 선택이 틀린 건 아니죠? 이렇게 어떤 답을 얻고 싶다기보다는 이미 내 안에 있는 답의 확신을 얻고 싶은 경우가 많습니다. 내가 고민을 털어놨는데 상대가 바로 막 해결책부터 말하고 조언하면은 점점 할 말이 없어지죠. 왜냐하면 그 순간에 마음에서는 아직 내 마음도 다 말 안 했는데 이미 상대방이 결론을 내버렸네 이런 식으로 느끼니까. 그래서 아이러니하게도 조언을 많이 해줄수록 관계는 오히려 멀어지는 경우가 많습니다. 이거는 진료실에서도 상담을 통해서 자주 경험하게 되는데요. 처음에는 선생님 이거 어떻게 해야 될지 모르겠어요 라고 말을 하더라도 조금만 관계가 안전해지면은 말이 바뀝니다. 사실은 제 마음은 이미 이렇게 정해져 있었던 것 같아요. 근데 이 선택이 좀 무서웠던 것 같아요. 몰랐던 건 아닌 것 같아요. 답이 없었던 게 아니라 말할 수가 없었던 거죠. 안전하지 않은 상태에서. 그래서 사람에게 정말 필요한 거는 정답을 제시해 주는 게 아닙니다. 안전하게 자기 마음을 말할 수 있는 그 분위기가 필요합니다. 안전하다는 거는 내가 말을 했었을 때 판단받지 않는다는 느낌이 주어지는 게 안전한 거고, 그건 틀렸다라고 말을 해주지 않을 법한 그런 분위기가 중요한 거죠. 그런 분위기가 만들어지면은 저절로 이미 자기 마음속에 있었던 말을 꺼내게 됩니다. 그래서 조언 대신에 수용이 경험되면은 점점 바뀌는데요. 말이 점점 많아지고 그러면서 생각이 정리가 되고 자기가 내린 답을 자기 입으로 말하기 시작하죠. 이렇게 될 때는 그 답이 완벽하지 않아도 괜찮습니다. 진짜 중요한 거는 그 답이 이미 자신의 것이라는 거죠. 근데 진짜 중요한 이야기를 드리려고 하는데 이거는 다른 사람을 대할 때만 해당되는 게 아닙니다. 나 자신을 대할 때도 똑같습니다. 우리는 되게 중요한 결정을 앞두고 다른 사람의 의견을 묻고 그래서 조언들을 계속 수집하고 그렇죠. 근데 그런다고 해서 답이 내려지나요? 오히려 마음이 더 복잡해지죠. 왜 그럴까요? 그때 바로 질문을 던져보세요. 내 마음은 사실 이미 원하는 답을 알고 있진 않을까? 쉽게 말해서 내가 답정너는 아닐까? 이죠. 많은 경우에 답이 없어서가 아니라 그 답을 스스로 인정하기가 두렵고 무서워서 조언을 구하고 있는 경우가 많습니다. 그 선택에 대한 책임이 두렵고 또 남들이 이거를 어떻게 볼까 이런 마음이 들고 이건 너무 이기적인 선택으로 보이진 않을까 이런 두려움이 들고 그래서 내 마음의 답을 다른 사람의 입으로 대신 말해주기를 기다리는 경우가 많죠. 이럴 때 필요한 태도 역시도 똑같습니다. 이건 이기적인 생각이야. 이렇게 느끼면 안 돼. 이런 게 아니라 아, 내 마음이 이쪽을 원하고 있구나. 이 답을 갖게 된 이유가 있을 거야. 조금 더 솔직해져도 괜찮아. 지난번 내 마음의 변호사가 되어주세요 라는 영상에서 말씀드린 것처럼 이런 태도는 자기 합리화가 아니라 자기 이해입니다. 오늘 드린 말씀의 핵심을 정리해보면요. 사람은 원래 답정너입니다. 그래서 사실은 조언을 듣고 싶은 게 아니라 이미 있는 자기 마음에 더 확신을 갖고 싶은 경우가 많습니다. 그래서 다른 사람의 고민을 들을 때도 또 내가 내 인생의 선택 앞에 서 있을 때도 어떤 조언을 통해서 해결책부터 찾으려고 애쓰기보다는 먼저 이걸 해보세요. 내 마음은 이미 어떤 답을 가지고 있는 건 아닐까 하는 질문이죠. 그리고 그 답을 부끄럽지 않게 꺼낼 수 있도록 타인에게도 또 나 자신에게도 그런 수용적인 분위기를 만들어주세요. 오늘 영상이 도움되셨다면 다른 분들도 보실 수 있도록 좋아요 한번 부탁드리겠습니다. 그리고 제 유튜브에서 기억에 남는 문장도 역시 댓글로